All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to GE115. Today we're going to talk about layers, and we're also going to talk about orthographic projection. So if you have my ET120 class, then you are all schooled up on this. But if you have not had that, then you're going to need to know what orthographic projection is. By the way, it was great to see everybody last Thursday from the ET120 class. Many of you, everybody was there for the exam. That's fantastic. And I hope that I see all of my GE115 for the first time this Thursday. So I have a little conflict on Thursday. I'm still trying to work it out, but I may ask you to come in early to take the exam if you can do that. So stay tuned on that. I'm going to cover layers today in AutoCAD, and then we're going to discuss orthographic projection. Okay. So let's do layers first. I'm going to make myself a little smaller. All right. So I have opened a basic AutoCAD template, nothing that I created. So there's no layers, there's no layouts. There's nothing available. I mean, there is layouts, but inside those layouts, there's nothing. There's a viewport. Remember, this is called a viewport. So if you're going to work with this layout, you need to open this viewport up, right? You need to get the paper to the size that you want. I'm going to turn that. Let me see here how I can do this. Oh yeah, I'm going to turn the grid off because I find that annoying. So to do that, I have to go into model space. So remember how to get to model space? You can do it here, or you can just click. There we go. I can turn that grid off. All right, so back in paper space. So now, if you want to, change your paper, you right-click on the layout. Excuse me. And you can make changes in the page setup manager. I'm going to modify it. And it looks just like the printer dialog box, as you recall. And if you want to, you can actually set up a printer, like here at my house. I do have a printer. It does not support 11 by 7. You can see that it only supports these pieces of paper. So depending on what you choose, a lot of times I'll just leave this to PDF, and then I'll get all the paper choices that I want. Okay. So if I wanted B size, I could go down. I think they call it tabloid. There was 11 by 17 also. So there's a few different versions that you can get. 11 by, whoops, not A2, 11 by 17. Right? And I can say, okay. And you can see the paper size changed. Okay. Now, it's nothing to do with layers. This is just a little review on, hey, if you open up a basic AutoCAD file, you got to do some tweaking to get the things you want. So open this viewport back up, and now this is ready to go. Right? All right. So I'm going to jump back in. And remember, you can delete these. So I often just get rid of the ones I don't want. I might rename. You can rename them. And I always put some kind of lettering system to keep track of these things. And then, this could be plan view. This could be site. It could be whatever that drawing is going to be. And then you can just keep creating these. All right. So now I'm going to go back into model space, and I'm going to talk to you about layers. Now, the advantage to layers is you can organize content. So I'm going to show you another screen, a new share, and oops, wait a second. I don't want to do it that way. Sorry. I just want to change the video to this. And you can take a look at this. Now, this is our goal, is to create a orthographic projection. And they call this a typical orthographic projection. And that's correct. And this is what we're trying to set up. But for this to be correct, this view would need to be labeled front, top. And this view would need to be labeled front, and then right side. So now we're getting closer to a correct orthographic projection. It does have some nice dimensioning, no dimensions on the object, and all of the dimensions kind of organized, and all of the dimensions go to visible lines. We cannot dimension the hidden lines here or here. So to dimension this circle, you would do it here with a leader. So this is all very good. We have good control over the text, right? And everything is in projection. So this projects to this projects to this projects to this. This projects over. That's why these are called orthographic projections. Now, talking about layers, how this could be organized is all the visible lines could be on one layer. And those are really supposed to be thicker than the hidden lines, but we'll talk about that later. All the hidden lines could be on another layer, and then all the dimensions could be on another layer, and then a title block. So this really should be a, you know, here's the paper. This should be a title block down here, right? Now we're looking at a very good orthographic projection, getting there, okay? And the title block could be on another layer. So we could easily have, you know, 4 layers: visible, hidden lines, dimensions, title block, something like that. If there was general notes or an ISO, that could be on a different layer too, okay? All right, so let's just talk about how to set these layers up. All right, I'm going to go back to me. I don't know if that's helpful to anybody or not, but I kind of like that. All right, so here's the layer area, right? And you're given one layer. It's called the 0 layer, and it's white, okay? That's the color. It is unlocked, it is not frozen, and it is turned on, okay? So that's a little light bulb. All right, so how do we make these things? That's this layer property box. So I'll click on it, and it'll bring up the layer dialog. And then you can see there's some little buttons here. And one of these is new layer. So if I click on it, it actually gives me a layer and names it layer 1. Well, that's not going to work. So I'm going to put in VISABLE, visible. Let me get rid of layer 1. And I'm going to leave its color to white. And its line type to continuous. I want it to be a continuous line. And its line weight, I might mess with that a little bit later. And that's what's nice about layers is you can change layer properties in the future, and it'll affect all of the existing objects on that layer. So I can change the color, I could change the line type, I could change a number of things. Okay. All right, so I'm going to keep creating. I'm going to have one called hidden. And I'm going to change its color just to play with this. I like the lighter colors, so I'll go with like a light green. We'll see how that shows up. And this really should be hidden. So if I click, oops, that's the wrong one. If I click on it, I really want hidden here, but hidden's not loaded because AutoCAD doesn't want to load every possible line type, right? If they're not going to get used. And there's no way to do it other than to load it. So there's a lot of line types in AutoCAD. They're just not loaded. So let's load it. So here we go. These first ones are the ISO or the metric versions. So if you scroll down, you'll get into the English or standard versions, and it is alphabetical. So I'll head down to hidden. And you'll see there's a couple hiddens, actually 3. There's hidden 0.5, that would be for a small drawing, and there's hidden ×2, that would be for a large drawing. So I'm just going to choose regular old hidden. And I'll click on it and say, okay. And it should change it to hidden, and it did. And my line type. All right. All right, so let's keep going here. I'm going to put in one for dimensions. And I'm going to make it another light color, kind of a orange thing. I'm going to leave it continuous. Right? I don't want it hidden. I want dimensions to be continuous. Okay. And then I could keep going and do title block. Right. And I'll leave it continuous. I'll change it back to white. And these are the common colors here. And this is what we call the palette. So if you choose these, it will actually call it white. If you choose one of these, it'll give it a number. Okay. Here we go. So there we go. We have some layers created. All right. So I just closed out of this. Now they should be here. So if you choose a letter like visible, I thought I changed that color. I guess I did not. Anyway, I'll put it on visible. Now when I draw, I'm going to be drawing visible lines. So I go oops, give myself an object. This is a little herky jerky. And make it simple object. It's really sketchy, jumpy. Right. And then I'm going to give it a right side view. So this is kind of a projection, and this is how I do it. We got the right side view, and I'm just making this up, right? But I'm going to pull these across. That little green line is very helpful if you're careful with your mouse. Mine is super jerky, but that's in projection, right? Let's make it come all the way across. I'll grab this thing. I'm not clicking anything. I'm just showing it that point and then pulling it up. And I'm having to do it super slow because this system is not happy. But if this is the right side view and this is the front view, from the right, I probably cannot see this shoulder. So this becomes a hidden line. So I would jump up here, change the hidden, now draw a line and go across. You use construction lines a lot. Okay. So I used the construction line and then I deleted out. So orthographic projection, you're going to have visible lines, hidden lines, and then you're going to have dimensions. So you're going to need to think about scale. You're going to need to know how your output goes. So if I wanted to dimension some of this, I would need a top view up here too. So maybe I'll do that first. Visible layer. Oh, here, let me show you something. I'll leave it on hidden because what you'll do is you'll forget. And so then I'm going to come up and give myself a top view. And this one's pretty obvious, right? That I'm drawing on the wrong layer, but needs to be about this big. I'm just guessing at all this, so you will not be guessing. Oops, come on, green line. So I'm trying to pull this green line up. It's not lined. There it comes finally. There we go, and there we go. So I'm just, working along, creating my top view, and I realize, it's all on the wrong layer. That's all right. Don't fear anything. Let me show you. This is often how I draw. Is I just draw on the zero layer, and then you can take objects and just choose them. So I have all those chosen, and I can come up here and take them and put them onto the visible layer in one maneuver. So a lot of times I'll just draw on the zero layer and then throw things to the layer that I want because I'm not that good at going up here and going, oh, I want a dimension. And so I change the layer, right? Well, I'm not that good at it, so I forget. But here we have a pretty good orthographic projection going on, okay? And I want to dimension it. But first, before I do that, I need to know that I have enough space between everything. I think I do. But I need to know what scale. So I go into layout and I go into model space and I kind of get it on screen. But remember, then I go here and I choose my scale. So I'm going to see what I don't know, quarter scale does. Whoops, that's pretty small. And I'm going to say this is an engineering drawing. So I'm going to go like a 1 to 10 scale, not the architectural scale. So let's go 1 to 5. Getting better. Let's go 1 to 4. That could work, but I think I can get it even bigger, like a one. Oops, 1 to 2 is not going to work. 1 to 3 would work, but I don't have that available to me. But I can make it. Remember, you can go down to the very bottom and you can say custom. So I'm going to add one, and I'm going to make it 1, 2, 3. Remember, this is just the title, and I have to make the change down here, 1 to 3. Okay. And okay. That did not choose it. So then I can go and choose it, and it usually puts those things. Let's see it. Not get it made. Oh, 1 to 3 right there. Oh, we gave it a colon instead of a semi. Oh, I gave it a semicolon instead of a colon. That's kind of funny, but it should work. 1 to 3, I love it. And that green is not wonderful here, but it'll print just fine. All right, so now I know that my dimensioning needs to be 1 to 3, not 1 to 1. So I'm going to change this. This is kind of good review of everything, right? I'm going to check my dimensioning and make sure that it is to annotate it. It's not. So I need it to go to annotate it, because then it looks and sees the scale factor, right? And I probably should check a few other things about that dimensioning, right? I should see I got too many decimal places. If I only want 2, then I need to change that. So I'm going to modify that right away and go to 2 decimal places. That's better. Decimal's good. Let's look at the text and see how high or tall that is. Okay, that's a little big for me. I want 0.125. That's 1/8 of an inch. Did I put in 0.125? 0.125. Right, that's better. And I think standard style is going to be fine. I don't have any other styles. All right, let's see what we get. I'm going to throw a dimension down. Got lucky, I was on the dimension layer. It might look small here, but remember you're zoomed in. So, you know, if you fill your screen, that's looking better. But this is where it matters, right here. Right there, and it looks good. If it's supposed to be an 1/8 inch on the paper, that's what you got. Okay, so orthographic projection, dimensioning, I would need to add a title block onto this layout to have a good orthographic projection. All right, that was a lot, and it was super fast, but you can hit the pause button, right? And you can make things slow down and go through it with me. But that's our goal for the week, is to get these down. You'll probably have to do one of these on Thursday, so try to practice with it. I think that's everything. I'd like to just look at, let's change the video again. This projection they have in the book. There's a lot of good information in the book, but look over, you know, dimensioning. The things I'm going to be looking for is that you get the right units, you have some good dimensioning organization, and then your orthographic projection is correct and in projection. So this circle is in projection, front, right side, and top view are the standard 3-dimensional views. Okay, this chapter, chapter 4, they do a good job with these. So you can see that there's a lot of conversation about projection lines. So everything can get projected to the other views. Okay, we don't show these, right? But this is how we make it. Use construction lines, they're very handy. Okay. There's a lot of good examples in here showing orthographic projection, the primary 3 views. So kind of zoom in on that, and then your practice problems look like these. And some of you will recognize this from 120 because some of you have worked on some of these. But yeah, you're just going to make the front view, the right side view, and the top view. And we always refer to this view right here as the front. So that keeps us all on the same page. That would make this the right side view. And then, of course, looking down the top view. And those are perfect projections, right? We don't skew them at all. I don't think they have any that go the other direction. They don't, but they have a lot of practice ones in here. So if you need help with any of them, let me know, because some are very tough, like this critter. That would be a tough one, right? This whole angled surface like this is going to make some odd projections. So you just start with the big outline and then work your way towards getting lines in where you see the visible real, like this is a real dimension that you can see. And then on the front view, you'd know this location, right? And you'd know this height. If they don't give this height, then you have to construct it. So you might have to construct this from the right side view because they give you a 45, right? So you could go up from here, come down at the 45 and make some kind of intersection. And then from the top view, you have this 45, so you can build this. So yeah, and then on the front view, you have this one over, so you can come up and construct. So very tricky. All right, they're puzzles. Good luck with them.